Death, for example, is nothing terrible, else Socrates too would have thought so, but the judgment that death is terrible, this is what is terrible. The candle flickers on the edge of a midnight desk. Somewhere, someone replays a harsh word, an accusation, a line of judgment spoken into their life. It circles in their mind, gathering weight, coloring the air. It is not things that disturb us, but our judgments about things. Epictetus, Enchiridion 5. A single sentence, 2,000 years old, gives shape to a silent struggle. Not just critics and arguments, but the way their echoes live on inside us. Epictetus isn't warning about insults. He's pointing at the invisible hands that grab hold of a comment and turn it into a wound. He's telling us, right now, no matter what's been said to us or about us, there's a hinge, a deep inner pivot. The difference between insult and mere noise is the story we attach to it. If words pierce you, Stoicism says, first examine your grip, why you tighten your fist around them. Like Socrates on trial, condemned but unshaken, not because the words against him were gentle, but because he refused to grant them power. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. Marcus Aurelius, Meditations 8:47. A harsh email arrives. Someone laughs at your expense. Your work is mocked. Your ideas sidelined. It lands like a stone in the gut. The first reaction feels automatic. Anger, shame, replaying what you'll say next. Marcus, pacing alone long after midnight, untangles the knot. The pain isn't from the insult itself, but from how you measure it. There's a gap between stimulus and response. In that gap, the Stoic finds their freedom. What the world throws at you, that's outside your control. But your estimate, your silent verdict, is your domain. The power to revoke. You can, at any hour, silently step back from your judgment. Decide that this doesn't merit suffering. For anyone lying awake, replaying a fight or slight, the offer is radical. You may not choose what happens, but you can question your estimate, ask what you're fueling and why. The things you think about determine the quality of your mind. Your soul takes on the color of your thoughts. Marcus Aurelius, Meditations 5.6. Windows rattle from an argument downstairs. The mind colors itself with replayed phrases, imagined retorts. The Stoic watches which thoughts they allow shelter long enough to stain the walls. For Marcus, to accept another's criticism without filter, letting it swirl and settle, was to let your soul inherit that unrest. You can't always choose what drifts in from the street, but you can decide which ideas sit down, grow roots, and paint the inside of your head. This isn't denial, it's agency. Your inner world, like a house, can be aired out. If we want peace, bring attention to the invisible process. What do we fixate on after others' words? What do we repeat until it becomes truth? Choose your colors. Let outside harshness hit the glass without painting over your spirit. Remember, it is not the man who gives abuse or blows who insults you, but the view you take of these things as insulting. So when someone provokes you, be aware that it is your own opinion provoking you. Epictetus, Enchiridion 20. Think of playground taunts, gossip in the break room, a relative's biting remark at the table. We're taught to brace for impact, words land, and pain follows as if it's physical law. But the Stoics learned to spot a missing link. You and I decide if a comment is truly an injury. The view you take is the true sharpness. When someone tries to provoke you, Stoicism flips the script. Your opinion is what bites, not their intention. Caught in a spiral after criticism? The practice is simple to suggest, hard to master. Picture the criticism as a letter in a foreign language. You can see the marks, but they hold no meaning until you translate. What happens if you choose not to translate every attack? Detachment isn't numbness. It's not pretending words carry no force. It's tuning your internal amplifier. You are not obligated to receive every jab as a truth. For anyone who's ever had their morning ruined by a text, they offer this: notice, then choose. You are free to take up or set down your own reaction. It is not things themselves that disturb men, but their judgments about these things. For example, death is nothing terrible, for if it were, it would have seemed so to Socrates. Rather, the opinion that death is terrible, that is the terrible thing. Epictetus, Discourses 2.5.4. A pattern repeats. The weight of an event comes not from the event itself, but from the shape it takes in the mind. Go back to the public square in ancient Athens. A jeering crowd shouts as Socrates stands accused. All their noise, their outrage, meant to unseat him, to disturb him. Socrates listens, but does not tremble. Not because he never feels, but because he refuses to grant authority to their judgments. For every moment you're evaluated, for every careless word aimed at your sense of worth, there's a fork in the road. Do you accept their opinion as binding, or do you leave it with them? The Stoics teach us not to outsource our peace, to build a citadel so that even public shame or loss cannot reach the core. Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed, and you haven't been. Marcus Aurelius, Meditations 4:7. A childhood memory. Someone tells you something cruel. You clutch it like a stone, carrying it for years. Marcus whispers through the centuries. Harm is not always what is done, but what you allow to be done inside. Don't feel harmed. A simple choice in language, impossibly hard in practice. But there is power there. The world will not cease to wound you, but you can limit how deep the cut goes. This isn't suppression, it is sovereignty, an active stance, refusing to let others write your internal script. In the modern storm, online comments, public ratings, social comparison, the invitation is the same. Choose how deeply you let others in. Pick your battles. Refuse to give every stranger the privilege of shaping your self-respect. When you are troubled about anything, you have forgotten this, that all things happen according to the universal nature, and forgotten this, that a man's wrongful act is nothing to you. And further, you have forgotten this, that everything which happens always happened so, and will happen so, and now happens so everywhere. Marcus Aurelius, Meditations 12:26. Look closer at the source of your torment, the harsh word, the unfair judgment. What makes it sting is forgetting what you can and cannot own. Marcus writes amidst the weight of an empire, surrounded by disputes and betrayals. He counts the ways we become unsettled. We forget that insults, wrongdoing, even social chaos, none of it is uniquely targeted. You are not singled out in suffering. The same dramas play out now as they did at Rome's height, and always will. The act is theirs. The turmoil only becomes yours when you claim it. If you feel churned up by criticism, try a brief return to scale. Ask if their words are really your business, or just wine passing through a window left open. History is full of men and women who stopped feeding the fire by walking away from other people's heat. So, how do you practice stoic detachment when criticism lands? Begin with a breath, not metaphorical, literal. Inhale, pause. Notice your first reaction trying to form. Defensiveness, outrage, worry. Acknowledge it, then set it on the shelf. You aren't rejecting feeling, just refusing to sign its lease. Question your judgment. Is this really an attack or just unfamiliar? Is their opinion about you or their projection of themselves? Sometimes it's just noise. Test Marcus's power to revoke. Can you mentally return the insult unopened? Let it hit, then drop, like rain on stone. Use perspective. Imagine the moment as a brief flash in a movie. Would you let this scene define the whole story? Give criticism the size it deserves, not more, not less. Imagine the world as a vast city at dusk, 1,000,000 windows, 1,000,000 lives, each with their own troubles. Yours are not unique, nor are your critics omnipotent. Sometimes the wisest thing is silence. Choose not to be harmed. And sometimes, detachment means action. If feedback contains truth, use it. If it's a lie, let it go like smoke. Criticism stings when it finds a soft spot inside, a doubt already planted. The Stoics want you to examine that garden. Which judgments must you replant? Which weeds do you let thrive? It is slow work, but it is freedom. Over and over, you reclaim the power to decide what colors your soul. If this stayed with you, there are more stories waiting to be told. Let the world speak. Choose what you let in.